Hello everyone, welcome to Ask Maniza, 7:30 Eastern on Thursday evening. I'm excited to have everyone here. Here we're discussing just toxins that we're surrounded by. It's a theme of toxins, poisons, pollutants that we are kind of continuing. We've been doing this theme for a couple of months now, and we're sort of continuing this theme. And many of you asked about, the whole theme with what's going on October 31st. And I've been getting many questions about it, and of course people asking what they can do. Is it about the candy? I've gotten so many people, asking questions about that, which I think is great because it's drumming up a lot of good interest. So I am excited to basically dive in and ask you questions. Hey Glenda, how are you doing? I actually hate going live at the same time that Anthony's live, and I'm thinking maybe we should just drop this one and go hang out with Anthony, because I would love to. But I told you guys I would be here, so I'm here. And so let's chit chat. So basically, let's first talk about the whole candy situation, which I think that it gets a little bit tricky with the candy, and everyone is saying, well, I'm not sure whether I should let my kids have that. Should we let people come in with that? Should we let people connect with that? Hey, Sage and Sapphire. It's a tricky area. So this is why I wanted to make sure we could chat about it, because the candy is only part of the story, right? Candy is only part of the story. And the other part of the story is that, a lot of people have been texting me and saying, hey Drindy, yes, how are you? A lot of people have been texting and saying, well, it's not that dark, or it's not that bad. It doesn't have bad origins. So a lot of the other questions, like somebody asked, Miriam, I see your question. Are there any positives about it? What do you do when kids come to your door? Just different questions that people are asking. So we're gonna delve into it. We're gonna get into it. Hi Judy Martine, how are you? Ellie, Sarah, hello. Vlada, hello. So yes, it can cause friction. I know it can, and amongst the kids and amongst family members and amongst a partner who really wants to have fun with this holiday and what have you. So a lot of people don't understand how really, so I want to preface this conversation by sharing that a lot of darkness we agree to without knowing we are agreeing to it. Okay? So, BK Clancy says, hi sweet Manizas, back to you. Much love, much peace. Lardana, alright, so I know I've got some of the health questions coming, which I will respond to in a moment. I know it's staticky, but Elaine, just hang in there. It should get a little better. I'm literally shouting right now. So a lot of darkness we agree to without knowing we're agreeing to it. Because if somebody tricks you into saying, ooh, well, it's sort of like I'll give you an example. It's sort of like using language in this way. It's a very deceptive way of using language. So for example, you say, oh, well, that's pretty dumb, right? That's pretty dumb. And Or you can say, that's pretty dumb. That's pretty dumb. You know, if you continue the sentence, or you could say, that's a pretty dumb-headed idiot. Or you could say, that's pretty, comma, dumb-headed idiot. So, do you guys follow what I'm saying? You guys follow what I'm saying? Okay, so I'm just going to pull somebody up on here. So if you cannot hear me, the sound usually gets better as the live goes on. So if you cannot hear me, send me Sally Ridgely. You can leave your camera off, but send me a join the request to the live, and hopefully we can get the sound to get better. You don't have to put your video on or your sound on. Just if you could do that, let me know if that would work. It's good now. See, it always changes. It's I'm like, I shall ask and I shall receive. Whew. Okay, so coming back to this conversation, how do you end up agreeing without knowing that you're agreeing? It's by sleight of language. So for example, you say, well, that's a pretty dumbass idiot, right? It's a pretty dumbass idiot is describing the adjectives of the idiot. That's a pretty dumbass idiot, right? So then that's all one sentence. But if you said, that's pretty, comma, dumbass idiot, you're now saying, well, that's pretty, that looks pretty, and dumbass idiot. Now, if somebody doesn't put the comma in, and they're vague about that, you could be agreeing to a sentence that you don't actually want to say. If you sign off on a document or you join in thinking it's one way when it's the other way, you wouldn't join in. The darkness has used the word insincerity. Actually, the statement is in all sincerity. In all sincerity, we support you, we take care of you, blah, blah, blah. But when you drop the word all from the statement and you say insincerity, insincere is the opposite of in all sincerity, which means that we're not actually going to take care of you, not actually going to agree with you, not actually going to support you. And we don't really want to, do anything to support you, really. We're claiming that we'll do the opposite. And when people tune in and listen and follow, then they're agreeing to that. All right, is everyone clear on this? Is everyone following? Or drop me a number 1 in the comments if you're actually following what I'm saying, or is it all gobbledygook and not really making any sense? And Maniza, I don't know what you're on about. Let me know. Is it making sense? Tell me in the comments if it's making sense. Sally says, understand. The word understand means I stand under you. So words are used as spells. It's a spell. You don't know that you're agreeing to something or matching the intention of the use of the words. Okay, so Miriam had said earlier she doesn't understand, but do you understand now what I'm saying? And I'm not using it in the dark way, I'm just using it. It's not in the legal way, right? In the legal way, it would be I stand under you. Okay. Good morning is another one, M-O-U-R-N-I-G. Also another one is the weekend. The weekend, when the weekday and the weekend. Weekend also means weakened, like you are weaker. And if you notice, they say you are weaker on the weekend because you spend money on the weekend because you may be going out, you may be resting, you're not actually being productive on the weekend. And so you are weakened on the weekend. Okay? It's LV flower power. Yes, you said, I always thought power is a spoken word, but this takes it up a notch. It really just takes it up a whole notch, trying to understand this. So like programming, why is television programming called programming? Because it is meant to program your mind. And look how well it's working. Look how well it worked during the pandemic. Everybody was on programmed information. They literally want you to follow what they want you to believe. They want you to believe what they want you to believe. Okay? All right. So by participating in the holiday that is on October 31st, it is a fact, and maybe this is too much for some of you, and it is a bit of really dark history, but I researched it a lot. And actually so there's a religion of Luciferians or Satanists, and they actually claim, and it's written in a document, you can find it on the website, on a website too, that this is their holiest holiday. And it's the holiest holiday of the darkest, I don't know, believers of faith or whatever they are, cult. So they do a lot of ritual sacrifice on these holidays. They do a lot of crazy rituals, and the rituals, remember that I said that you are under the spell of words. You're under the spell of words. Anthony always says, he's talked about this. He talks about, there's a line in Brain Saver that says, you don't know whether the people behind all of this, the private classified medical industry, will ever be revealed, or maybe it will be in the wizard who is behind it all. He says the word wizard, behind it all, which confirms that darkness uses sorcery. It's witchcraft, it's sorcery, it's dark, and they use it against us. I mean, if you've ever heard of black magic, if you've ever heard of any of these things, I know that we don't really talk about this openly, and people don't want to hear it because it's triggering, but honestly, like, he's revealed so much in this book, and I'm like, well, why don't we just keep on revealing stuff? Because we need to protect each other, and we need to protect our children, because this holiday coming up on the October 31st is really just about the children. And yes, it affects the adults too, but it's about our children. And I am more passionate. There's nothing else on earth that I'm more passionate about than our children. And I don't just mean my children, I mean all our children, right? All of our children. So not only do they poison the kids with the candy, right? So we all know about the candy. You have enough information, enough knowledge about candy to know that it's absolute crap, and there's no point in believing in that, and you don't subscribe to that. And many mothers are already like, I'm not giving my kids the candy, which is great. Like, there's more awareness about this. However, there is people participate in this in the name of fun, but when you participate in it, you're giving them permission to basically harvest your child's energy during this holiday. And this holiday is all about death and darkness. And they say so. Their own description, the people whose holiday this is their holy day, their feast day, whose holiday this is, their description of this holiday is all about death. It's to celebrate death. So then people ask me, well, there's in different cultures, there's Dia de la Muertos, and there's we celebrate the dead, and it's all part of the same thing. It's all part of the same. You don't need to celebrate the dead on this day. Like, we honor our ancestors on any day of the year that we wish to honor our ancestors. We don't have to honor our ancestors on these given days. Like, who told us that we need to honor them in this day? So by accepting that this is the day that we do this, you are actually agreeing to participate. if you reject it, and so it comes down to like this practical, like, what do I do with my kids now? So first of all, you know, if you're just joining, I hope that this information is not super scary. But I just feel like we need to know that a lot of our holidays have been usurped and it's being turned upon us. It's, you know, remember, so listen to the words that are spoken on October 31st. What is October 31st's tagline? Anybody tell me? What is the tagline on this day? What is the tagline? Does anyone know? So it's called trick or treat, right? But darkness operates on trick. And so when you agree, when you go trick or treating, you are giving them permission. Trick or treat. Do I really want to give them permission to harvest my energy, my kids' energy? Do I really want to give them permission to participate? Miriam, what the heck? Trick or treat, yes. So many of you are saying you never bothered with this holiday, but if you have children, it's tricky. And I would say if you want to have your kids dress up and do something, choose a day like a week before Halloween. Oops, shouldn't say it, but a week before this day, and basically celebrate then, but don't do it on that day. And also, actually, even in the rest of October, there's a lot of their holidays or holy days are used for different types of ritual in October. October's like a big month for them. So if you want to push your celebration or having fun and dressing up and all that, do it on a week after, right? And so we've just bought into these things, but who told us to buy into these things? Like, who declared this a day that everyone needs to celebrate and participate in? The media pushed it. The culture pushed it. And who pushed the culture? The media pushes the culture. Social media pushes the culture, and all of that, right? So Maria says, what about Dia de los Muertos? I just talked about Dia de los Muertos, and basically I know the intention is not, like, it seems like it's such a beautiful thing to do. But if you do it at this time, and I know it's not exactly, but it's in the same kind of arc, it's very close to the October holiday, I wouldn't do it then. It's like this has been declared to be done at this time, and it's all part of this dark ritual. So what I was saying was you should be able to celebrate your passed on ancestors any day of the year. Why have we designated this day to do it? Because they designated this day to do it, because they want to use your energy on this day. When you participate on their holy day, you're in it, like you can be a part of it. And basically imagine, like, the more people who get into it, the more people who do it, how much power energetically do they have to connect with that. And Hocus Pocus is not an innocuous movie. I agree with that. It is completely about harvesting children and their souls in their blood. 100,000% accurate. It is 100,000% true. Because there's a lot of evidence, guys. I'm not just speaking to you about this because I'm making it up or I don't know the facts. I've spent, since I learned, oh my God, I was like, oh, hell no. I am not doing it. It's really not doing it with my kids. So basically, the whole story of this day is about deception, right? So I know that you guys understand deception because we've been deceived. So like Hocus Pocus, I've got notes here, so I'm reading. So Hocus Pocus was about kidnapping children, stealing their souls. So wholesome, right? And it's also part of predictive programming. It's part of predictive programming. All the horror movies, like the Joker and all those like awful horror movies are also part of this like build up. And notice the gory, dark themes for this day. It's pretty gnarly. I've never been into it, the gory, dark themes. But my kids, so people ask, have my kids participated before I knew? Yeah. And once I knew, oh, I was like, oh, hell no. Oh, no. No, 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 no. So, you know, there are also people who are ex-Satanists or ex-Luciferians from this religion, who basically have left the religion, and they come back and say that this is the most holy day. Do not let your children participate. There's like video footage of them saying this on YouTube. You can go find it. So yeah, this is really important to know. And you know, like, it's also called, Halloween is actually called All Hallows Eve. And the thing is, who is the most hallow, Hallow, it's God. It's a perversion of the light as well by calling it All Hallows Eve. It's not all, this is not all that's hallow. Hallow is only up there, right? So we have to remember this. And how do you protect yourself? How do you protect yourself? Just don't participate. Pray. Like, do something light filled, you know, like do Anthony's light meditation or do something like that. Just pray. You know, if you love the angels, call on the angels. If you love, you know, just beautiful connection to the divine, do whatever that is that gets you there. Gwendy says, when we were kids, there was no gore in Halloween. That started in the violent movies in the 80s. But see, Gwendy, they started prepping you in the 40s, 50s, 60s on this holiday because they wanted to push it in that direction. So once it was acceptable and it wasn't gory and everyone loved it and accepted it, then they push their agenda. You see, that's how it works. They buy you in, they buy you in, they buy you in. Remember what I posted earlier this week on Instagram? I said the devil will tell you 9 truths to make you believe one lie. The devil will tell you 9 truths to make you believe one single lie. And that's a fact. So I want all of you not to believe me. I want all of you to go research this for yourself. Go look it up. You will find the evidence. Okay, you will find evidence, I promise you, because I found tons. So another name for this holiday is called Samhain, and it's spelled Samhain, okay? But it's pronounced Samhain, and it's basically like a Celtic holiday. And it's about giving permission to the spirits to roam free. But the problem is, a lot of spirits are not just, you know, cool people like you and I. They're lost spirits, evil spirits. There's just a lot of demonic activity. When you call in that kind of energy, and when you have depictions of demonic costumes, you will attract that on that day. Like, you're like, oh, come get me. Like, I'm one of you. You're agreeing by the dress up in the costumes. You're agreeing with them. Okay? Who's with me? Like, who's lost already? They're like, see ya later, Vanessa. I'm out of here. So I hope that this is making sense. Also, there is a thinning of the veil that happens on this day because of the way because it's that time of the year, right? It's really connected into this. You guys have to pay attention. And in other countries, like the Day of the Dead, it's the Day of the Dead is actually a whole connection into this holiday. It's all connected, guys. I don't come back on me. Like, I'm telling you from research I've done, things I've read, it's all in different countries. They make it palatable. See, darkness will make it palatable to you. They will make it something that you can accept. So the Day of the Dead is something that you can accept. Oh, it's a good thing. It's like great, but there's an agenda behind it. Look, don't they do this with the medical system too? We're here to support you. We're here to do the tests and to help you. But you wouldn't even know the sinister agenda behind the medical system until you've been hurt by the medical system. Then you start to question the medical system. You're like, how does this exist in the medical system? You slowly break down your belief by actually experiencing it, right? So you wouldn't know otherwise. So this is why I'm trying to tell you, they make it palatable so you'll accept it. And it's something beautiful and loving. But why must you do it on that day? Why is it that day? And why is it so close to October 31st? Because it is. Why is it so close? Why is it so close? Do you think that just because it's a day later or 2 days later that it's okay? There's an energy of the cosmic, like when you have the full moon, there's a cosmic energy of the full moon that starts a week prior, a week later. Even with the Mercury retrograde, the energy starts pre-shadow, post-shadow of the retrograde, right? So it's the same thing here. It's a connective arc. Don't be fooled by it. Like seriously, please. So you guys are hanging in with me. Okay, that's good. I'm with you. I love that you're sharing. Okay. I'm so glad you guys are here, getting it. Do you know the history of women in the witch trials? Yes, I do. So Christy says, I've always hated this holiday, refused to participate. Bruna Tasha says, yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Come to these realizations myself. Sherry Coates says, thank you so much for sharing this important information. So many more people need to know. Thank you for getting this out there. Blessings. You're welcome. I'm so glad to be able to get this out there. I'm just your birth keeper. Why about letting our kids dress up to hide from or to fight darkness? That's how my son thinks. It's so cute. He's 4. Yeah, but it doesn't matter how you dress. It doesn't matter how you dress, because what the dressing does is it takes away the identity of your child, right? And to them, that's permission that I can come and attach a harvest or whatever. I know kids have a really sweet thinking about it, but don't be fooled. Remember, the devil will tell you 9 truths to get you to believe 1 lie. Andrew Miden says, I masked just once in my life, and it was a mask of an angel. My friend masked like a devil, and she acted possessed the entire night later on. It was traumatic to me. I'm not kidding. That stuff actually happens to people. So the costumes that are not, so if the costumes are not scary, then no permission is granted. No, it's still granted, because it hides your true self, who you really are, right? You're behind that veil. And now that gives them permission. So Len 4441 says, I heard that before, even scary movies as well. Yes. KSMOY1. Yes, we're discussing October 31st. Sage and Sapphire said, for all the times that we did participate, you have to say out loud, I revoke all the soul contracts made by me and those contracts that I'm not aware of at this time. I was just about to come to what you can do. You can say that I no longer participate. I no longer give you permission. I actually speak it for my children as well. You don't have permission to connect with my children. You absolutely don't have their permission. You don't have my permission. I dissolve, disconnect, void any agreements made without my explicit knowing that I was making those agreements, because those agreements were made by tricking and deceiving me. Okay, so Natalia says, I never understood the Day of the Dead in my country. Creepy shit. Love Win says, question everything is true. Elena Steinacker says, my husband and I, when we were dating, used to get into a big fight every time we were going to a party connected to this holiday. Yeah, it's really important. I love Healing says, I'm very glad to know this. It validates me. Natalia says, and they sweeten those horror holidays with unhealthy sugar candy, which is a double punch, which is basically when you get on a sugar high, you just like get on a sugar high. You know? Can I explain how they harvest? Like, I don't want to get into that. That's pretty gross and pretty gruesome. And I don't want to like totally freak people out, and I don't want to call in the energy of it either. Like, I'm like, it happens. You like when you say a lot of prayers and you're grounded and you're ready, like you can go look it up. Look it up, you know? So I'm reading from someone's post on Instagram. He says, this was a wild and savage occasion with human sacrifices and victims burned as offerings by the Druids to the gods. And even in like the Celtic tradition, right?
Um, but it's like, he keeps talking about how more and more sinister it gets. So basically he says, and I agree with this, it's Baal worship. Like there's a worship of the idols and worship of the dead and worship. It's a whole worship thing. So he also quotes, because this guy's Christian, and I'm just going to quote it. He says, all of this is eerily familiar to what the Lord told Jeremiah in the 19th chapter, 5th verse, Kings 22:53, Jeremiah 32:35. I don't have all the Christian references, but you know, it's really important to go read. Like, we have been warned about this stuff as well. So he goes into a lot of the history. And the thing is, like, I think that we're all, can HM Phil says, can we pray for the protection of our grandchildren? Of course you can. Feels like a modern day witch trials the way a lot of us are being treated. Oh, Leanne, you will not believe. Like, I just came out of a meeting that was literally like about like a witch trial for someone. I was just shocked, completely shocked. Birdie says, my older sister decided not to talk to the rest of my siblings. Natalia says, now that's why I never liked costume dress up. Makes so much sense. My husband thinks this is all crazy. I don't feel like I can let them not do it. Miriam, do your best. Do your best. Just say a lot of prayers. Karen, wow, that's why I never enjoyed to get dressed for Halloween. I didn't like Halloween parties when I was young. Always suffered on this day because of social pressure. Yeah. I always picked up on bad energy at Halloween parties, says Stephanie. Yes. When I was involved in paranormal investigations, we always brought protection crystals and said detachment prayers before leaving the location. Totally. Birdie says, can we give fruits instead? I mean, you can give anything you want, Birdie, but you're still participating, right? So people asked, what do I do when people come to the door? So no one comes to my door. I've lived in, as long as we've lived outside of an apartment building and in a home. When we were in the apartment building, kids used to come, but when we were in our homes, no one ever came to our house. Like, it just was not. I'm so grateful that never happened on our street. Good morning, Adrienne. Natalia says we should do a light and love party. No, you don't want to do anything on this day. You don't want to participate in any way. You want to live your normal life. You want to do your normal stuff and say extra prayers, and that's pretty much it. Leanne says, I'm struggling with all this darkness at the moment. The more I realize it, it's everywhere. It's heavy. Yes, but so is the light, Leanne. And that's what I want to share, because this live is about bringing the light. Like, it's let's get lit, right? We're going to get lit because we're not going to participate. And because we're not going to participate, we're just going to be more lit. So it's pretty cool. Ita, I've heard some people say when you're intuitive or psychic, it's the work of the devil. Not always. Not always. There are people who are intuitive and psychic these are God-given gifts, right? But the thing is, Ita, what happens is that people don't know how to connect with these gifts with the groundedness and protection of God. When you go into these gifts in these areas without the groundedness and protection of God, then you can get lost, because it's very easy for darkness to attack. And I've been there. I've been attacked psychically. I've been attacked multiple times psychically. I know what that's like. And now I know what I was missing. I just didn't know before. So Elif Sarah says, my mom never let us celebrate Halloween. Drini says, no wonder I've never liked scary movies. Alana says, does this holiday get celebrated just in the US? No, it's all over. It's in Europe too. It's growing in other countries. It's all over the Middle East. It's in my country, Pakistan, it's not so popular, but in many countries, it's actually growing. Sherry says, shut the lights off and don't answer the door. That is exactly what to do. Shut the lights off. Don't answer the door. Pretend you're not home. Pretend you're not home. Celery Healing says, I get 200 plus kids coming to my door. What if you were on vacation? What if you were away and on vacation? Maybe go away for the night. go to a quiet place. Just get away from your place if it's 200 kids coming your way, right? Or you can just, if you were on vacation, you just wouldn't be there to open the door. So what would people do? You're just not home. You're just not home. Lana says, it's so interesting. I'd like to know more, but what do I do? What I do know is I never liked Halloween and never participated in it. Now I know I'll do extra prayers. Becky says, can you talk about extra prayers? Yes, we will. Infinite Wellness says, light, light, light. Yes. Linda says, my brother turns out the lights in the house except in the den and no one stops by. Exactly. That's exactly what you do. Gabrielle says, they hold a light festival in our town. We're not allowed to dress up, scary, etc. Yeah, but anything that you participate on that day is participation. They take it as permission. Chasing Real Food says, good thing I have the plague. No going out here. Yeah, well. Oh my gosh. Leanne says, thanks, Vanessa. You always bring the light when I see you. It's, yeah, well, I hope to. Love Win says, we're all intuitive in some way. We are. But I think Ita was talking about people who really have gifts, like, you know, they're like mediums, they can hear other, you know, beings, blah, blah, blah. It's more than just intuitive, but yes, you're right. Every single person has intuitive gifts. Lemon Bomb Love says, I'm so grateful we didn't celebrate Halloween in Australia when I was a child, and I never did it with my kids either. Twinkle Fever says, how do you know if you've been attacked? Like, often is you just don't behave yourself. You don't feel like yourself. You start to feel low, depressed, kind of funky, you know? And many people have told me who are participating in this day, afterwards, they just don't feel good. Catherine says, after we were baptized as babies, the Holy Spirit protects our soul. That's amazing. But then also don't participate in anything with darkness. So you stay more protected. Like, you know, that's like saying you wear the armor. Like if you wear armor to go into war, right? But you're wearing armor and it protects you, but you keep going into like dangerous situations, it's still a risk. So, you know, I would say that's important to pay attention to. You don't want to be giving darkness permission. So even if you have been baptized, but yet you give them permission to come to you, they will. You must not participate. Christy says, I'm very intuitive and I've been attacked too many, so I don't know how to protect myself properly. I say the biggest protection you will get is from God. Biggest protection you get from God. What happens if we do something on that day? Lissy, go back and listen to the live. We've already been talking almost an hour. So, you know, like I've been talking a lot about this. Andrew Madan says, yes, exactly. In my country, it's been growing. Lala Lindsay says, Halloween is really big here and people get so crazy, drunk and possessed. It's true, drunk and possessed. And it is, the behavior is just like, I remember being in New York City. I think I must have been newly married. We were spending the weekend in the city and my husband excited, his friends had a party and we were going there. And I'm watching all these people on the street dress up in New York people, they're like so into this. And I was just like, I felt my energy go like back into myself. And I just kept going, yeah, this is so weird. Like, this is so bizarre. The energy is so strong. I didn't know what the heck it was, but I knew that I had to retreat. And I just kept retreating. I felt like I was physically retreating into myself. I think just for protection, I didn't know what it was. So it's really important to not participate in this because you're giving darkness permission to harvest your energy and attack your soul, right? Infinite Wellness says, porch light off for the past 6 years and no kids come. Exactly. Turn all the lights off and then just stay home. Lemon Bomb, Leanne says, it's becoming big here now. Lemon Bomb Love, I'm not sure how to explain to my daughter now as her friends have been talking of it. She's looking forward to it now. You just have to explain your beliefs, just like you explain God to your children and how you explain religion to your children or faith to your children, or, you know, you're different. Like, how do you explain what you do? This is how you just explain it. You really just explain it and put it out there with your kids. J.S. Moy says, I have a friend who's a psychic medium who's helped so many people who have lost loved ones, giving them hope and light. So exactly, we have powerful gifts that are for the good. But if you fear that you may get lost, then you must ground yourself in knowing why you're doing it, what you're doing, and your intention is so important. Ita says, yes, exactly. I'm born with the gifts. And I do not believe in that per se. And luckily, my mom and my culture and children are nurtured and encouraged for those gifts. So did we do the same? Like encourage those gifts, really supported them, but know that because the whole premise of what I teach our kids and my husband and I teach our kids is that we work for God. So even if this gift is present in us, it is a gift that we are working for God because it came from God, right? Saved by Plants as our pumpkin fall decorations or decorations of this holiday. I think it's been usurped, especially the jack-o'-lantern, to turn into like a scary face. I know some people put a smiley face on their lantern, but you know how you hollow out the pumpkin? Listen to what I'm saying. When you hollow out that pumpkin, it is a depiction of the hollowing of your soul, which is what they want to do. Okay? Miriam says even the churches are participating. I know everyone is. It's really crazy. Lana says we need to do extra brain shots at the. I was just going to say, one of the ways you can protect yourself is to bring more light to your brain. Totally. Totally. What's the deal with spirit guides? Well, it depends. They're different beings. There is no such thing as a spirit guide. It's just like there's a being, either there's angels or lost spirits or other spirits, ancestors. WFPBQA says, Manisa, what can you say about baptism and Christianing? I'm not a Christian, so I don't like to comment on matters that I'm not an expert on. And even this topic today, I'm not an expert on it, but as a mother, I'm sharing with you as a mother. I'm not sharing with you as a practitioner today. I'm sharing with you as a mother. I do this to protect my children. Guess what, guys? Look at the number of people on this live. It's 144. It was 144 for the longest time. 144 people were on this live. I love that I just saw that. That was unbelievable. Soul Purpose with Sarah says, I pray daily to the angel of light to protect myself, my home, and anyone who enters my home. Extra prayers on this day. But also, Sarah, you want to pray for dark energies, unwanted energies. Basically, you have to say, if I haven't given you explicit permission to be in my space, you are not allowed to enter. And that goes a long way. That's very clear. So, you know, the words are very important. The intention and the words are very important. You need to say them aloud. You need to declare it. It's like a declaration. You may not enter my space, my home, my land, my property, my family members, my people, my children, my spouse, myself, anyone who is my loved one. You're not allowed to affect, come near, harvest. Like, we give you no permission. We revoke all permission that was previously given, and you just completely revoke that. Natalia says, thank you for bringing this topic. It was much more serious than I thought it would be. It is totally, like, we miss it, right? Because it's couched in fun and la-di-da, and it's so cute, and look at the kids and the candy and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, and behind the scenes, they're like, yeah. So Gabrielle says, so we don't have the power to transmute the negative energy or anything by partaking in a light alternative with a strong intention that we're choosing a light alternative for that day. But why the heck would you want to do it on that day? You cannot transmute that energy alone. It would take an act of God to transmute that energy, because they're all working it. They're all working it. And by the way, they have all people all over the world working it with them. You can't fight that. You can't just have an intention and be like, oh yeah, but you know, like, it's like having an intention not to die as you walk into a war zone with no armor on. Or like having an intention not to get polluted when you walk into a spray of arsenic. You're gonna get polluted. It's that simple. I don't know, some of us can feel this resistance, but like, if somebody sprayed arsenic, would you walk into it